What's going on, everybody? This is D Style Boxing. Thanks to those joining me live. It's those that'll be joining me on archive. I'm being joined by Joe Habib from Ringside Reporter. All right, and we're also being joined by Ring IQ. We got other panelists that will be coming in as the show progresses. Let's go ahead and get this one started here. First of all, a shout out to Manny and Vivo Marrero in the chat. A shout out to you and the Long Live Boxing crew. Ryan Garcia, as we know, he beat Fortuna, as many expected him to do. And now he called out Tank Davis. They're going back and forth. Tank Davis said something about I'll see you all in December or later this year, something like that. Look, is this fight going to happen? Are we going to get this Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia fight? Or is it all talk? Is it all cap? Are there too many hurdles in the way? Joe Habib, are we going to get this fight? Like, bottom line, is it going to happen this year?
Absolutely not. Listened to an interview with Mayweather today, and Mayweather was saying, the only way they would fight would have to be at 135. And I don't understand why Ryan Garcia did move up to 140 and why he fought Fortuna at 140. It was just a weird, insignificant fight to me. Like, Garcia had never mentioned about having problems making 135. I know he's a tall guy. I know he can fight at 140. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he can fight at 140. But like I said, why now? It's almost like this guy self-sabotages himself. You say you want to do something, but you do everything possible to not allow you to do that. So it's almost like you give yourself an alibi to not have to do something, right? So he moves up to 140, knowing that that's going to be another stumbling block. And, Tank fought at 140. But that was a one-off. I mean, he's made it pretty clear that he's going to be fighting at 135 for a little while now. So I just think Garcia says a lot of things, but just doesn't follow through. And it's hard to take him serious at this point, but we'll see what happens. I don't think the Tank fight's gonna happen though.
Ring IQ, what do you think? Are we going to get this fight like bottom line this year?
This year, no. I believe that'll maybe it happens next year or in 2 years' time. To Beeb's point about Garcia going to 140, I disagree a little bit. I think he's doing the right thing because, remember, he doesn't care about Devin Haney's belts. Doesn't care about that. So nothing that he's doing right now has anything to do with belts, and there's nothing holding him to the lightweight division. The smartest thing you can do is get the drop on all your contemporaries by beating them to the punch and going up to 40 before they do. He's already fought up there 2 times. The Emmanuel to-go fight was at 40. This fight was at 40. The Fortuna fight, I don't think it was pointless. I think the focus of everything that Ryan is doing is for Gervonta. So when you think about that, what's Fortuna? A southpaw. What's Jojo Diaz, who he may end up fighting? A southpaw. What was Luke Campbell? A southpaw. So regardless of what he's saying now, none of us expect him to fight Gervonta Davis later on this year. I think that's obvious. But what he is doing does seem geared specifically towards Gervonta Davis. I think the fight will happen, provided nobody gets their ass beat, nobody loses. I do think it happens. It's the only money fight that either guy cares about. So if they don't fight each other, who the fuck are they going to fight? Neither one of them wants Devin Haney. Brian mentioned Teofimo Lopez, but come on, fam. Like, he's at Top Rank. Come on now. Like, be real. You know what I mean? So I think the fight will happen, though, just not this year.
Do you buy the like I know Calix had pointed out that he seems to call out the guys that he knows can't fight him, like Teofimo being one of them. Do you think there's truth to that?
Absolutely. I think he mentioned Teofimo knowing that fight is not feasible. I think that everything he says about Gervonta Davis now to some degree is also in that lane to where you making all these promises and saying all this shit, but underneath it all, that shit not going to happen this year. DAZN is not just going to let you go over there. That's one. Goldenboy is not just going to let you go over there. You know what I mean? The same way they didn't let Jaime go over there, they're not just going to let you go over there. You got more of a following than fucking Jaime. He knows that this is a fight that potentially happens in 2 years' time after it grows to the point of maybe a May pack. Not saying it'll do that, but I think you could do 1 million, maybe 1.5 with that fight.
Hey, Beeb, do you think he's just calling out guys that, there's a reason he's not calling out progres, right? He's not calling out guys that are going to answer the door.
Yeah, no one's calling out Prograis, and it's funny you mentioned Prograis because he's very upset right now. the sanctioning bodies are screwing him over as well too.
Right.
You could argue that he's the on paper the second best 140 pounder in the division. I actually thought he beat Josh Taylor, but I don't have an argument with Josh Taylor getting that decision. It could have gone either way. That was a razor close fight, and I thought he did much better than what's his name, Ramirez. I thought he did much better than Ramirez did.
Yeah.
So it's baffling to me how these sanction bodies are ranking these guys now at 140. Because when you look at Catterall's like number 4. He's number 5, and I think I want to say in the WBA he's not even ranked. If I'm not mistaken, I got to double check that. But I don't understand, the what's going on at 140. But we'll see what happens. I mean, 2 of the titles are vacant right now, and they're going to be filled pretty soon. So I think Zepeda and Ramirez are going to be fighting for the WBC, and I think the WBO is vacant as well too. So, and the PBC fight is going to be fighting for that one against somebody else. So it's interesting. The problem with Garcia is PBC is going to have one of the vacant titles, and Top Rank's going to have another one of the vacant titles. And Ryan Garcia is a DAZN fighter, and Top Rank and PBC are not going to want to go over to DAZN to fight Ryan Garcia. So this is going to, be very problematic for him to get a big fight. And DAZN doesn't really have a lot of 140 pounders. I mean, who is he going to fight? Like Maurice Hooker or something? I mean, I just don't see what's going to happen. I think he's in a very, very tough situation over there for opponents. So we'll see.
All this positioning, it's like Game of Thrones out here, with these belts.
Crazy.
What's going on, Michael Montero from the Neutral Court? How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Good. I'm sorry I'm late, guys. I got a pregnant wife, and she was craving pizza, so I had to go pick up pizza.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
It's a different thing every night. So I just, I can't eat the pizza because I have a fight coming up. So I got her pizza. I'm going to eat my broccoli later, my chicken and broccoli. Anyway. Yeah, so good to be here. And we're talking about Ryan Garcia, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I missed, what's the topic?
Well, pretty much, pretty straightforward. Like, bottom line is Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia really going to happen this year? Is it really going to happen, or is it all a bunch of cap?
It's all cap. It ain't happening, man. Honestly, I don't think either side wants that fight, and we could sit here and bicker and talk about maybe it's 60-40 on this side or that side. I don't really give a shit. Neither side wants it. If I'm Ryan Garcia, my thing is, how old is Tank? He's going to be, 28 this year? He went pro in 2013. That's almost a decade ago, guys. He's in a different stage of his career. Let's talk about Ryan Garcia in the same sentence with Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, those guys, because they're the same age. To me, Tank Davis is a different age and in a different phase of his career. He should be thinking about different fighters. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think Ryan is serious about fighting? We kind of have an idea about Tank, but is Ryan, he's younger, is he serious about fighting any top dudes? I mean, he called out Teofimo, but, it seems he calls out the guys that there's a lot of roadblocks, a lot of firewalls to get through them, right?
Well, that's the problem now. I think I got in just at the end of what Beeb was saying, but I think you were talking about the fact that who does Ryan fight? Because politically, promotionally, who does Goldenboy have, or who could they work with in and around 140? Because I think he looks better at 140. I think he's going to stay there. Maybe it's Tio, because Grandpa Bob and Crazy Oscar work together pretty well, but could that fight happen right now? Absolutely not, because they got plans for Tio over at Top Rank, right? They're going to fight Barboza, and then they're going to do some other things with him at 40. So for Garcia, he's kind of on the outside looking in. If I'm him right now, if I'm Goldenboy, I kind of go the Triple G route. I hate to use the Triple G example like in every show, but he's the last modern fighter I can think of that was really shut out. And instead of sitting on the sidelines like so many of these dudes, he fought 3-4 times a year. And yeah, it was against B-level opposition, but he drilled these guys and he created demand. If you're Garcia, do that. All the teeny boppers that follow him on Instagram and TikTok and a bunch of shit I never heard of, they'll love that shit. So line them up, knock them down 3-4 times a year, take short money to do it, and build up your brand. That's what I would do if I were Golden Boy.
Well, I want to add to Mike's point, because the thing is, the audience that really consumes Ryan Garcia fights, believe it or not, it's actually not us 30, 40-year-old guys. If you looked out into the crowd as he made his ring walk, it was like New Kids on the Block. It was like Menudo. I saw, it's right.
Or 50-year-olds. but either way.
Hey, I thought Gabe was 30 or 40 something. Shit, you take care of yourself.
Young dude, yeah.
But if you looked into that audience, that wasn't, guys our age. So when you think about it, Ryan doesn't care about belts. He doesn't care about belts at 35. Doesn't care about belts at 40. So nothing he's doing involves a Josh Taylor, Jeremiah Ponce, Alberto Puello. It's not about any of those guys. He may not be able to get certain fights, but those are fights that he doesn't even fucking want. In all likelihood, he probably fights Jojo Diaz at 140 because Jojo is a southpaw and he's with Goldenboy Promotions. Beyond Jojo, they could set something up between him and Sandor Martin, another southpaw who's coming off a nice hometown win. Before that, a career best win over Mikey Garcia, defends his title in his hometown over there in Spain. They could probably get him that guy, because I get the sense that whatever Ryan's doing right now, it ain't for no belt. Is preparation for Davis. And to your point, Mike, which I 100% agree with, Davis should be the one looking at the pro grades and them people. Yes. He should be looking at them people, because he 27, done campaigned at 3 weights. And what's going to happen, or what I see could happen, you give Ryan the chance to develop and he may beat you.
Who's got more upside? Tank is who he is. Again, he's going to be 28 at the end of this year, right? I believe he's going to be 28. So he is who he is. I don't see a whole lot of development in recent fights because they haven't put him in there with guys that are going to force him to develop.
Yeah.
With Ryan Garcia, say what you will, there's still massive flaws. His chin's way up in the air, but there is some development, and I like what Gooson's doing with him. And yeah, you're totally right. They're going to put him in there against Diaz later this year. But you do that fight in LA, it sells tickets. Diaz doesn't hit hard, but he's a little general in there. He's going to bring it. He's going to give Garcia 12 hard rounds. He's going to learn from that, and they're going to continue to develop. So Ryan Garcia, when he's about the age that Tank is right now, I don't know, dude.
I don't know, Mike. Last press conference, Floyd was saying, hey, Tank is young and still developing, he said.
Yeah, he's been saying that for a while.
In the same press conference that he called, he said that Canelo was in his prime at age 23.
Of course, right.
Go ahead, Beep. Sorry.
To Mike and Ring's point, Ryan's just going to get better. The longer it takes to make the fight, it favors Ryan because he's going to get better. He's going to grow. He's going to get bigger, stronger. Tank's going to be turning the corner now. He's going to be dipping a little bit, right? So, Ryan's got plenty of time ahead of him. He's only 23 years old. So, and plus, Ryan's making good money.
Yeah.
He's making decent money. Yeah. And they love to say, that Tank's the cash cow, whatever. But Devin and Ryan, and they're all
making great. I brought this up in a live I did earlier.
I'm right. I mean, you see where I'm going with this, right, Ring?
Because it's so true. Like, who's getting life-altering money to fight Gervonta Davis?
They're all making comparable purses, though. All three of them, Ryan, Devin.
Devin doesn't need Gervonta to get a multi-million-dollar purse. Ryan doesn't need Gervonta to get a multi-million-dollar purse. And you look at what the guys are getting to fight Gervonta Davis. They're not getting the money that Devin's getting. They're not getting the money that Ryan's getting. So, is he really a cash cow? Is he really?
No. Hey, shout out that is to Silas de Lobo. D-Style, ¿qué onda, güey? Ring IQ de lo mío que lo que ringside. Mazel de Montero. Cosa Nuestra. Ryan, girl interrupted Garcia would probably beat Stank. Oh, man. Well, hey, thank you for the support. Good comment, by
the way. And one last point, not to belabor the topic. If you look at Tank's last couple fights, he's been losing rounds in these fights. Mm-hmm. I had him
down. Wilder.
I had him down in the Santa Cruz fight. He was down in the Raleigh fight. He was down in his fight at 140, and he needed a knockout to bail him out.
Mario Barrios,
Mario Barrios, he was down in that fight too. So he's losing rounds. He's still
look
got
at
the
who
punch.
he's losing rounds to.
Exactly, and that's another thing too. So
yeah, losing rounds to Regis pro grade. You know.
Yeah. So.
Well, look, it was mentioned by Ring IQ, but this whole like Ryan's been on this like the belts don't matter thing. Like it's like a new thing to me, for whatever reason. But now we have fans. It's kind of sad actually to see fans like endorsing this like this thought process, and even some, if you want to call them pundits, are like, yeah, no, I'm more impressed when they're popular than when they're champions. I'm more impressed with their ticket selling than, and Ray Q knows exactly what I'm talking about, but it is what it is. So I want to start with you, Ray Q. What do you make of this thought process, and do you think it's temporary, or do you think it's kind of like it's going to be like a growing movement in the future, this whole belts don't matter movement that's going on?
It's not going to be a growing movement because there's just people like this, not just, not limited to a conversation about boxing, but in society. You have numbers people. I consider myself a numbers person, a logical person, and you have emotional people. Emotional people tend to say irrational things. For example, Ryan just went in there and knocked out Fortuna, who lost to Diaz. Diaz lost to Haney. You're attempting to eject Haney from the conversation when by all rights it's proven that Devin Haney is a better fighter than the fighters you're fighting. But because, you're emotionally compromised because you're easily excited, you're easy to impress when it comes to Ryan, you're going to try to make it seem like, oh, we don't need Devin because we have Gervonta. But do you have Gervonta? That fucking fight ain't about to happen. So who the fuck does he fight in the meantime? If you got time, for example, for a Javier Fortuna, how could you not have time for Devin Haney? How could you not? Making empty promises about Teofimo Lopez. Nobody believes you're going to fight him. He's coming back in August. You're not fighting that guy. We all know that. You know what I mean? So really, it's just and I got to be honest, I can't fucking stand emotional people. It's a pet peeve of mine. I really don't like emotional people. When you stop making sense, I stop looking at you as an adult, because the year mark of an adult and a maturated frontal lobe is logistics. You need to be able to make it make sense. So how could it make sense that you have time for Javier Fortuna, but you don't got no time for Devin Haney? The only reason you saying that belt shit is so that you don't fight him. When it was George, after George beat Tio, who did Ryan call out on his social media? George. Devin wins the belt. Oh, now belts don't matter. It is what it always was. And anybody trying to dress that shit up, bro, it's a disservice to the sport, because you got to beat the man to beat a man. Who's the motherfucking man? Devin Haney. That's the man, period. And you don't want no problems, because boring or not, he will UD you. He will beat you. Maybe not in exciting fashion, but he'll make you look like you need to go back to the drawing board. That's what that's all about.
Hey, and well said. I want to welcome Calix Boxing in the building. Also, Ohio runs boxing. Let's start with Calix here. Calix, what do you make of this kind of whole like, oh, the belts don't matter? That's what Ryan is saying. And we have like pundits and some people in the chat calling them sheep. Fans are just the parrots. Rawr! They don't matter. Rawr! Just because Ryan said it, right? Ryan want a cracker. What do you think?
The belts matter. The belts matter when it's convenient for the belts to matter, and then they don't matter when it's convenient for them not to matter, right? And there you go. I've said it on my channel. I keep pushing it because my enemy at this point is the promoter, manager, network execs, all those guys.
Damn.
But my main enemy has become the fans, because look, at the end of the day, Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia is not going to happen until the market gets bored with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. It's not going to happen. When Tank Davis is selling out arenas in multiple different cities, Atlanta, LA, Vegas, Washington, D.C., New York, when Ryan Garcia is putting 11,000 in Crypto Arena, what do you think is going to happen? More of it is being rewarded. So get ready for Ryan Garcia versus Jojo Diaz, which isn't a bad fight, but it's a consolation prize. And get ready for Tank versus God knows who. God knows who. Chris Colbert, Frank Martin, Adrien Broner, God knows who. Abner Morris. And get ready for this to repeat until the market gets bored with these guys and says, no, I'm not going to go to the fight. I'm not going to go to the Tank fight. Look, Tank, his numbers, his pay-per-view numbers are the numbers, but they're cheap pay-per-views, so he's still in the green. He's still in the green on these pay-per-views. So as long as this racket works, it's going to keep up. And as long as the fans continue to accept it, they're going to take advantage of this unintelligent market. But they both are not interested in the real belts. And that's fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. But we have to treat these fighters as such. We can't be out here saying the real championship is between Tank and Ryan at 135. Devin's boring, so I'm not even worried about those belts. No, Devin is the undisputed champion of the world. He's got all the trophies that matter at 135 in his trophy case. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis aren't interested. And you know why they're not interested? You know why they telegraphed that? Teofimo Lopez had belts at 135, and when he did, Ryan Garcia wasn't calling him out. Now, Teofimo Lopez has 0 belts at 140, and all of a sudden, Ryan's calling him out. And on top of that, Tank Davis is a promotional free agent. So if Tank Davis was concerned about competing with top competition, he would go to where the top competition is. He has more leverage than Devin Haney. I'm told this all the time by Tank Davis fans. So he doesn't have to sign a 4-fight deal with Top Rank like Devin Haney did. He could easily go over there for 2 fights. He could easily go to Goldenboy for 2 fights. And then he can use this and get the big fights he wants, but he doesn't.
He doesn't want to earn his money, bro. Like, you know, and I'm glad you brought it up because when Tio had the belts, Ryan was quiet as a church mouse. When George won the belts, oh, I want George next. I need George.
Everybody called George out.
It's up there. It's on his Twitter. All you got to do is put George in the search bar, and you're going to see Ryan calling him out. Respect to George. Much love, George. So that when Devin win the belts, oh, I wouldn't be proud of beating George. Bro, you was literally calling him out last year. Literally.
I remember that, yeah, along with Shakur Stevenson. A bunch of dudes wanted compose, that's for sure. Hey, Ohio Runs Boxing in the building. First of all, how you doing, brother? Second, what do you make of this Ryan Garcia saying belts don't matter? And you got some of his, some fans and even some pundits kind of agreeing with him, saying things like, hey, I'm more impressed with the guy being popular than actually beating top competition.
I agree to an extent, man. I think belts does matter, but then you look at the sanctioning bodies and how they've been moving over the years. They have showed us that they believe belts don't matter because they make up these franchise and these ways to maneuver fighters from fighting each other. You know what I mean? I can go on and on about the sanctioning bodies. That's the bigger problem, but I get it when you say belts don't matter, but again, they pick and choose when to say belts don't matter, depending on who the guy is. That's the problem with the sport, man. It's like, come on, man. We see it. It's obvious. Ryan, to me, reminds me a lot of Jake Paul. He knows how to troll. He knows how to say certain things to get people so he becomes the villain. You know what I mean? He doesn't rub me the wrong way. I laugh at a lot of his stuff because I know he's trolling most of the times just to get attention. It's almost De La Hoya and Ryan is one of the best cross promotion people out here. And they know how to cross promote so freaking well.
Cross promote or cross dress?
That's literally what I was thinking, D Styles. I was like, I'm waiting for him to say cross dress because Oscar knows how to do that. Oscar knows how, bro. He learned.
No, silly, but no. But here's my thing, and Ring IQ touched on this too, which is so true. I've been in this game for a long time, and we deal with a lot of emotional fans who is, they so emotional. It's hard to have real conversations with these guys because they speaking off emotions and they sound crazy. They run away from logic. And I always say this, logic, common sense and logic goes out the door when you speaking off emotions, especially when you don't like a fighter. It's hard for me to really listen to you when you're talking about a fighter you don't like because your credibility is going to be questioned when it comes to that fighter because you don't like him. I see a lot of people do this all the time. But back to what you were saying about Ryan, he's just a great troll right now. I would love to see him fight the Tanks and the other, top guys, the Devins. But they're just cross promoting so they can build up with this JoJo fight that they've been trying to make for the longest. So I think a lot of us smart experts that's been in this game long enough, we know what they're doing. And that's the beautiful thing about the social media. We're starting to see a lot of these promoters and advisors, we're noticing how they move. And it's a pattern, you know what I mean? So I don't get caught up when I see certain things. I remember when Bob Arum actually was cross promoting when he said Jared Anderson might fight Wilder this year. And people went berserk, like, I'm like, guys, what, are you serious? You really think that Jared is gonna fight Wilder? Like, come on, man. It's like
Probably not.
Bob was doing his job. You know what I mean? I get it. You know what I mean? It was brilliant tactic, but just being realistic. Like, there's no way Wilder is going to fight Jared Anderson and go backwards. Like, he has nothing on the table, and people bid it. But that's just how it is, man. But as far as the belts, I think I still respect the belts. I still respect champions, but it's been watered down by the sanctioning bodies. They were supposed to.
Can I say this, Ohio? Isn't it? It's not that the belts don't matter. He's saying that shit because the truth is, yo, you don't want to fight Devin Haney, bro. That's what it is. When he was there with you at the zone. You didn't want to know. You fought in an eliminator for his belt.
Facts. Yeah,
you fought Luke Campbell in an eliminator for his belt. And as soon as it was time to put up a shut up, you walked away. Now, he becomes the man, which is what aggravates me about it. Ryan would never do what Devin did. No. Javante would never do what Devin did. He went over there on a plane without his dad. I'm going to beat you in your backyard in front of 41,000 your fans. I'm going to beat you. Ryan would never do that. Never.
No, that's real. I think, and we have to praise that. And I think we have to put a lot of pressure on some of these fighters by applauding Devin, man. I think what Devin did was great. We need to see more of it. And to me, I think a lot of us, another thing is he took less money. Cool. You know, we're not getting some of the pie. So at the end of the day, let these fighters just try to be great. And I think Demetrius Andrade, not to just throw him in there, he should take some lessons from looking what Devin did. Okay, let's just come on, man. Let's
slow clap.
We gotta call it all out. Look what,
80 slow clap.
Look what he did. You know, and Demetrius didn't want to take the fight with Charlo Moore. I'm like, guys, I mean, you chose money over legacy. I mean, okay, cool. I mean, but it's consequences behind that. That's all I'm saying. And a lot of these fighters, not the only one, they do that. But that's just my take on it.
Absolutely. Hey, shout out to Old Dirty Boxing. Shout out to the panel. I appreciate the support, brother. Boxing Love 100. Absolutely. Montero, same question to you, but what do you think got us here where fighters are now saying, because Del Hoyo was very popular, but guess what? He was fighting for the titles, right? So this is new. This is not like a thing. Like, are we going to maybe see like what Jake Paul's doing? That he's making up his own belt. Are fighters going to be making up their own belts in the future and fighting for those belts?
Jake Paul's a one-off, but I mean, just to follow up on what everybody else is saying, I mean, the modern thing right now is if you go on your social and you say, oh, I want this guy, knowing you can't get him, but your fans will say, oh, shit, Montero wants Tyson Fury. Knowing damn well I don't want to fight Tyson Fury, I'm going to go fight.
Beat Montero 2022. Let's go.
Yeah. They're always trying to get us to fight, Habib. What's up with that, man? But you know what I'm saying? That's what they do now, because that you can clout chase, you can cross promote, as Ohio Runs Boxing was talking about. Yeah, I get what you're saying by cross promotion, because that's really what it is, right? It's a marketing thing. And that's what a lot of people do on social. It's not just in boxing. If you look at what politicians do, I'm not going to get political. I'm just saying both parties do this shit. The media does it. Other sports figures do it. It's everywhere, even the music industry. So it's the new thing to use social to get your fans. And what is fan short for? Fanatic. Fans are emotional. You get them talking. They do the work for you. And you're right. He's going to call out this guy, that guy, whoever, and then he's going to fight Joseph Diaz at 140, who's a 126. Exactly. Good fighter. I like JoJo a lot. You know, I've known JoJo and his dad since before he even went pro. But good fighter, little general in there. I think he'll go the distance with Ryan. I really do. But there's no way in hell he can hurt Ryan. And that's why it's perfect matchmaking for him, right? all Mexican American showdown in LA that's going to sell tickets. And then he could say, hey, we called out Gervonta. They don't want it. And Gervonta is doing the same thing. Meanwhile, Devin Haney, as you mentioned, he goes over to Australia, does his thing. Now, would Devin Haney have taken that deal if he was going over to fight a Ryan Garcia, a Teofimo Lopez? I don't know. I don't know if he takes that deal. It's easier to take that deal when you're fighting Kambosos. But he still took it. He still took the deal. He took short money to get it done. And that's something we haven't seen a lot of recently. So I give him tremendous credit for that.
I just want to say this. Devin Haney is a part of the historical lineage of the lightweight division, and Ryan is not. And that matters. It matters, all right?
Absolutely.
Lineage transferred from Kambosos, from Lopez, from Loma, from Linares, and now Devin Haney is in that. And what I don't like, you know, the fans, as you said, they're fanatics, but the pundits, the actual guys that cover the
come on, these fucking pundits, 99% of them are fucking fanboys that never put on gloves in their life. And they fantasize, they masturbate about these fucking fighters. Come on.
And that's a problem, right? Because so much of the blame we put on promoters, managers, network execs, sanctioning bodies, all this stuff. But you just talked about lineage. If we have talented fighters in these divisions who don't care about the lineage, and then as fans, we reward these fighters over the ones who do, it's a problem. They pay attention to the incentives. So you look at middleweight right now. And I talked about it on my podcast earlier. You look at the picture at middleweight, it is devastating. That's a sexy division. That's a historical division. And what's been going on there is devastating. You got Prince Eubank Jr., who's climbing up the rankings. He's calling out a welterweight at a catchweight. Then he's calling out Jake Paul after that. You've got Jamal Charlo, who is pulling out of a fight due to a back injury, and he's drunk in the club on Instagram the week after. You got Boo Andrade. Is he a 168 pounder? Is he 160? He pulls out of the Zach Parker fight in early May. And none of these pundits, journalists ask him, how serious is the shoulder injury? And then finally, what is it? The WBO says, no, look. You got to come do something. We got to clear up this picture. You got to come fight Zhanibek. I'm giving you 30 days.
Well, look, we're going to talk about Zhanibek. We're going to talk about that. We'll have a whole topic on that. But hold that thought. Joe Beeb. What are your thoughts, brother? Well, what do you think? Belts don't matter. You know what I mean? Why the belts? And we have fans and pundits just going along with it. Like, no, it's about how popular you are, you know?
Oh, I'm going to date myself right now. I don't know if you guys are old enough or young. Have you guys seen that movie, The Boiler Room? And you had Ben Affleck.
Great movie,
and he's sitting there talking to those guys in the room there. Those guys who wanted to become brokers. And he goes, anyone tells you money doesn't matter, they don't have it, right? It's the same thing with the belts. I mean, the belts don't matter because you don't have any of them. You know, Floyd Mayweather had a 21-year career. And for just about 17 years of that career, he had a belt, right? All the great fighters always had belts, right? Because you can say the belt doesn't make the fighter makes the belt, but they work hand in hand because you need something to signify that you're the greatest, that you're the best, right? That you're top level. And if the belt does that, and if you don't have the belt, you know, even if a guy will vacate a title, right? Like Mayweather was able to just vacate titles when he fought Mosley. He didn't even pay the sanction if he didn't care. But that was after he won multiple titles prior. So when you're established, then you can say belts don't matter. But when you're not established, you need the belts to solidify.
And fighters love belts.
Yeah.
Athletes love trophy. I got a fucking belt
Go ahead,
in my trophy case right in the other room, man.
It's also about keeping them out of harm's way, because if you're fighting for belts, you're going to cross paths with guys at 140 that can, like, look, Ryan's great, whatever, right? He doesn't stand a chance against Subriel Matias. He doesn't stand a chance against Regis Prograis. There are fighters up there that will beat the fuck out of him. And if he starts fighting for belts and fighting for ranks, you're going to bump into one of them. And then it's going to hurt your stock when you say, no, I don't want him. So Ryan, he's ahead of the curve. Fuck your belts so that I could be okay, so that I could be safe. You know, fuck your belts.
I just want to add one point before I go to you, Beeb. I mean, saying the champion makes the belt doesn't make the champ. It's like saying, oh, the driver makes the NASCAR car, not the car. Yeah, but without the car, you can't win the fucking race. Like, you still need the fucking car.
Yeah, they work hand
right?
in hand. Yeah,
you need the belt. Like, you need the belt in order to make the belt.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you don't have a belt.
Yeah. So, getting back to what I was saying, this is why I questioned the move to 140, because I still think Devin Haney would probably beat Ryan Garcia, but he has a better chance of beating Devin Haney than he has beating Prograis, beating those guys at 140. I think the guys at 140 are tougher, right? And it's going to be harder to make fights with those guys at 140. At least with Devin, I think it's a more makeable fight, in my opinion, right? And I just think that I don't blame the fighters as much or the promoters as much as I blame these platforms, because these are the people that are buying the rights fees to these fights. They're the ones that are funding the promoters. So if they're allowing a fight like Garcia and Fortuna to happen, and they're paying Ryan Garcia $2 million to fight a Fortuna, he's not being incentivized to fight the tougher fights. So these fighters are not incentivized to fight the tough fights. So I blame the guys with the checkbooks, DAZN, ESPN, not ESPN, Showtime, DAZN, Fox. They're the enablers. They're the ones that are shelling out these dollars, giving these promoters an unlimited resource of funds, to do what they do, right? Now, obviously, they have to buy, okay the fight, and they have to buy the rights fee to the fight. But at the end of the day, if these guys say no, we don't want, like HBO, Floyd left HBO for the simple fact that they said, you know what, we're not going to give you a guaranteed 6 fights and lock you in with a guaranteed. We want to know what's going to happen down the road, right? Because when you lock someone in for 6 fights, you can't forecast who's going to be there, after 3 years, right? And you're going to lock someone into a specific rate, not knowing who he was going to fight. So that's why HBO was like, "Fuck that! We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing these long-term deals anymore because this can come back to bite us in the ass." So you got DAZN giving out fucking a 6-fight deal to Gennady Golovkin, who's pushing 40. I mean, what's that all about? You know what I mean? So I blame these platforms more than anything. DAZN is enabling Ryan Garcia.
There you go.
I agree.
There you go. Look, I want to get to this one. The WBO has ordered Andrade to defend his WBO title against Zhanibek. Okay, really simple question. You can give me your general thoughts about it, but my main question is, and I'll go to you first, Michael, is he going to fight him? Is Andrade going to fight Zhanibek?
Normally I would say no, but where else does he go? I tweeted about this today. It was interesting, some of the responses I got, but he's kind of backed into a corner, man. I mean, none of the other promoters seemed like they want to work with him right now. Even PBC. Ring IQ did a video about that today, talking about how, or maybe it was yesterday, talking about, how PBC was willing to pony up some money. Showtime was willing to pony up some money for Munguia and other guys, but not necessarily for Andrade. Andrade made so many poor business decisions and kind of backed himself into this corner here. He's almost got to fight Zhanibek. And it's Alam Kanala, I think is how you say the last. I've heard it pronounced 18,000 different ways, so
Don't
I might be butchering that. Alam Kanala, I think. But where does he go? Because the only bargaining chip he has left is that belt. To talk about, do belts matter? Here is a case where belts absolutely matter, because Andre doesn't bring anything to the table financially. He can't sell maybe 3,000 tickets, maybe in Providence, something like that. That's about it. So at this point, unless he can make some kind of backroom deal with PBC and maybe take short money to fight Charlo or something like that, maybe they pull something out in the 13th hour or whatever. That actually might happen. Now, if Andrade fights Zhanibek and beats him and beats him decisively. And we see levels to him that he's never been forced to pull out before. We see something that, you know, maybe was always there, but he's never had to dig deep, right? He digs deep against Zhanibek, wins that fight. Suddenly he's marketable. Suddenly maybe a deal with PBC and Uncle Al can happen, or maybe Top Rank, somebody goes after him. But short of that, man, I don't know where he goes. I really don't.
All right. Hey, Ohio Runs Boxing, same question to you, brother. Is Andrade, however people want to say it, is he going to fight Zhanibek? Is he going to defend the belt against him? Or will he vacate first? Will he avoid the fight? What do you think is going to happen?
Michael's pretty much nailed it 100% on the head. He has no choice, man. His back is against the wall. Over the years, I've been consistent always. I like Demetrius, but like, again, you have a lot of fanboys that you bump heads with because they think when you call them out on certain things, you're a hater. It's one of the dumbest things I hear about, you know, when it's dealing with people. It's like, we're not allowed to, I can call out fighters that I like when I feel like they're wrong. And I think Demetrius, he has duck fights too. You know, people try to make it like he has been avoided, but he also has duck fights as well. And he should have took lower fight. He should have took the lower fight, in my opinion. He downplayed that. And I actually made a video showing him sounding just like Canelo sounded when he came to the press conference. He was talking about Laura being a runner, Laura not being entertaining. He was saying all this stuff.
Ohio, he said, I'd rather fight Jack Colquet than Laura because Laura is boring. So that's karma. And when I brought that up, people was looking at me cry. I said, no, we have to call it, we have to be consistent. And that's just me. I'm going to be consistent when it comes. I even call my guys out, you know, Ohio. Y'all know I'm Ohio 100%, but I call them out. And people respect that. But he was doing the same thing Canelo did. And guess what? Canelo was right. People got to be honest. He was right. I still want Demetrius to get those fights, but he didn't burn some bridges business-wise. I don't think PBC even want to deal with him because
he's lost a lot of money for people, brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Matchroom, Eddie, they're not going to publicly release what he lost, but believe me, everybody in the industry knows because people talk. You can't say it on the record, but we know the numbers. He lost millions with Andrade. The zone, I should say.
And
everyone knows.
Some of those times, like I said, sometimes those styles, they're great boxing styles, but sometimes people just ain't entertained. When you got the casuals who wants to see knockouts majority of the time, the hardcores, we enjoy that type of stuff. I like the technical, I like the boxing, but if I'm me on the promoter mindset, I can't sell that. I'm down in Ohio. He's not going to headline. Now, here's the thing. He would have been perfect for Al Heyman. To be honest, Demetrius would have been perfect. Look what Laura did. Laura got the Canelo fight. Caleb Plant got the Canelo fight. Floyd, no, they got the fight over there. But Laura was headlining, fighting nobodies. No disrespect. But look how many times Laura has headlined over there on PBC. You know, it's like he got fights. He got the Herd too, not just the Canelo. He had some great fights over there. Castano
and Gulo.
Laura got a lot of great competition over there, and his resume is surpassed Demetrius. Let's just keep it real.
Oh, yeah, we could say that. We could say that. Like Demetrius.
Go ahead. Is he going to fight him?
I think I spoke to Steve Kim yesterday, right? We was talking in the spaces, and Steve communicated to me that it's encouraging because of what Michael said, that, bro, you don't got no options. The only bargaining chip you have left is that you're a champion. They didn't want to fight you before. You think anybody's going to want to deal with you if you vacate? Then what the hell do you bring to the table? At least now you bring a belt. From what I see, the other side of your career is on the other side of this fight. Now, if you win, maybe you can jump into bed with Sky because Sky, hey, they signed Clarissa Shields, right? Maybe they'll sign you, you know, but you got to win and you got to do it good because ESPN and Top Rank, they do business with Sky. Maybe Sky can find you a couple of super middleweights they're moving up to middleweights they're moving up or whatever, moving through to fight, and they could have you fight over there. They fucking signed Michael Hunter. They can sign you. He doesn't even have a belt, but they signed Michael Hunter, right? So I feel that he might do the fight because what are your options, bro? The Zach Parker fight, that's gone. I asked Samson Lukowicz over a month ago, you know, about the Demetrius Andrade Benavidez shit. He blew it off, bro. That shit is not happening. All right. The plan for Benavidez is Morrell in the fall. That's what he told me. Morrell in the fall. So you ain't getting Charlo. You ain't getting Benavidez. Parker's out the window. Fight this fucking guy. Beat this fucking guy if you can, because the rest of your career is on the other side of this fight. You got to get through it. You vacate that belt, you're a hot potato that nobody wants. Nobody needs you for nothing. So you need to keep your belt.
You know, it might be worse before I go to you, B, but and if you want to follow up with this, B, will it be worse if he vacates or if he loses Zhanibek? What do you think, B?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to disagree with everyone. I think he does vacate the belt, and I think he tries to get a. I think he does try to get a fight with Charlo, and I know what Samson said, but they would fight Demetrius. They told me they had no problem if that fight was there. They tried to make that fight, and I guess Demetrius didn't want it. But I think Demetrius has to think about positioning himself for a big money fight, and the Zhanibek fight's not a big money fight. It's very high risk, low reward, and he's probably saying to himself, it's better for me to lose to a David Benavidez or a Charlo and I'll get paid for it instead of lose to this guy and not get paid for it. So even with that belt hasn't helped him because he hasn't gotten big fights with it. You know, he's made some good money with it, but now he's not with the zone anymore, and he's not going to have that, you know, those purses anymore. So now it's about getting the big fights. And with all due respect, the Zhanibek fight is not a big fight, and it's a fight he could lose for short money. So if you're going to take a risk, you might as well fight someone and get paid for it. So I would not be surprised if he vacated that belt, because he did entertain going up to 168 and fighting Zach Parker for that very reason, that initially he didn't want to fight Zhanibek, right? He's questioning, who's this guy? It's a meaningless fight to me, whatever, which is another way of saying this guy's too much risk for too little reward, right? In my opinion, anyways. So I think he may vacate this belt and try to get a big fight with Charlo or Benavidez or someone up.
Pete might have swayed me here, to be honest with you. But Calix, is he going to vacate or is he going to fight Zhanibek? What do you think he's going to do here?
Track record tells me he vacates, but the current situation tells me that he's going to fight the fight. And if you're asking me, what would I rather see him do? What would I rather, lose the fight or vacate? As a fan, I give him more credit for fighting Zhanibek and losing the fight than vacating. If he vacates this belt, he needs to be raked over the coals. The middleweight division is a dumpster juice division right now. As I pointed out earlier, it seems like nobody wants to take the championship. Nobody wants to be the guy at middleweight. Everybody's just handing it off. But I just go like, everybody's seen The Godfather. Marlon Brando says in The Godfather, I don't believe in coincidences, and neither do I. And we saw two sanctioning bodies make moves this week. The WBA, we know why they were making moves. We saw that pay-for-play scandal. So one, they're saying, they're trying to signal, oh, we're cleaning things up over here. We're cleaning things up. Leo Santa Cruz is finally going to fight for a featherweight belt, defend his featherweight belt, even though he hasn't fought at featherweight in 3.5 years. And they're making other moves, and also to distract what's going on over there. And then we see the WBO here. Why are they making this move? To me, they're making this move because they've found out that Boo Andrade has no options. He's got no options. So they're going to say, look, you got no options? We're going to put the pressure on you here. You take this fight.
They're doing it because Bob Arum runs that organization.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Who has
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had to throw that in there. We're Bob's organization.
World Bob organization.
Yeah.
Hey, you know,
that's why they're doing it.
Similar to like the Guillermo Rigondeaux. It's another guy who was a great technical, skilled fighter, but did not sell. And, you know, but he would go down in history as one of the greatest fighters, great fighters, man. And he was another one. They was taking the belt when he was losing in different weight classes. So
listen, when he went up to 130, the WBA said, if you lose that fight at 130, we're going to take your 122-pound belt. Fast forward, Leo Santa Cruz gets knocked out at 130 by Gervonta Davis, but he still get to keep the WBA at featherweight.
Yeah, crazy. And that's the sanctioning bodies for you. So
Heyman owns WBA though.
Yeah, well,
Bro, they must got pictures of him or some
He
shit.
pays Gilberto's salary, bro.
They never used to do that back in the day. If you moved up in weight and you lost and you had a title at a lighter weight, they never stripped you. That's a new thing, man.
It's
That
is.
was a Rego. No, listen, that's a Rego thing because the only
Sure.
dude they did that to was Rego. They
Yeah,
didn't do that to Leo.
yeah.
Well, look, I have to let go of Montero in a little bit, so I want to ask Montero one more question before I let you go, brother. This is about Seniesa Estrada. She has parted ways with Goldenboy Promotions. Roberto Diaz, the matchmaker, Goldenboy, says he enjoyed working with her, but he's kind of out of that picture. He's just a matchmaker, but they weren't willing to come up with an agreement, like, for whatever reason. What do you make of it? Does it say anything about Goldenboy Promotions? Is it just this one thing? Maybe just with this one fighter. Well, what do you make of it?
It's a one-off, and it's a disagreement with the finances involved. She thinks she's worth a certain amount. Goldenboy doesn't, and so that's what it is. She's got some things in the works. And look, man, I like Seniesa a lot. She's another fighter that I've known for a long time, and I think she's one of the best female fighters in the world. When it's all said and done, she might be the best pound-for-pound female fighter in the world. She just needs some more opportunities. She's very exciting. She's got a big future in this sport behind the microphone, in front of the camera. She's going to be a star for years to come, well after her fighting days are over. So she's smart, and the people around her are smart, her family members, and they're getting her lined up to do things on the business side outside of the ring as well. So she's really setting up a lot of different things. And I guess she just kind of feels like she outgrew what Goldenboy wanted to do with her. So it's really, as far as I can see, it's an amicable kind of split. And we'll see what happens. But I think she'd be great with Eddie Hearn. I don't think she's going to go there. It's going to be somebody else. But can't really talk about it. But she's going to do some interesting things in the coming years.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I'm to tell everybody where they could find you, brother. And any final thoughts from you?
Man, great panel, guys. And we got to do this again. I got a pregnant wife. For those of you who got on late, that's why I was on here late myself. So I had to go pick up some food for her. She's making me dinner now. I'm going to go eat and get back to training tomorrow. But let's do this again soon. And Montero Unboxing is my social media handle. So everybody out there, whatever social media app, you just find me at Montero Unboxing.
Sounds good.
Salud, gentlemen.
We appreciate your time, and you have a good one, brother.
You too, man. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yep.
Ring IQ, same question to you, brother. What do you make of Seniesa Estrada parting ways from Goldenboy Promotion? Just a mutual agreement? Is there something going on with Goldenboy? What do you think is going on here?
I don't think that they realized that they had a diamond, right? I know the whole situation, and I won't divulge everything I know. But if you have to ask me if she made the right decision based on what I know, she absolutely 100% did. And she will get what she wants, where she's going. I won't say where. But it's simple. You have to invest. Like anything, you have to invest. If you got a star or somebody that could become that, somebody's rubbing elbows with LeBron James, somebody who's rubbing elbows with Danny Trejo, a very well-known actor that everybody's fucking seen him. You got a star right here, and you got to pay to play. You got to invest. Now, if you don't want to pay this woman right, even though she a 2-division champion, even though she got the potential to be a star, cool, cut her loose. It's my understanding that that's more or less, there was friction there, but they did the right thing. They let her go amicably. If she feels she can get a better deal somewhere else, long as you let her get a better deal, no problem. Don't get in her way, because she will get a better deal. And I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to say everything I know, but she's going to get a better deal. That much I know.
Well, I hope it's Ohio Jake Paul. That's what I'm hoping. So, but
Well, Ohio runs boxing. Talk to us. What do you make of it? Her leaving Goldenboy Promotions from the outside looking in. What's your reaction to it, brother?
You talking to me or B?
Yes.
Oh,
Ohio
I'm late to the party on that. I didn't even know that was actually going on, so I'm late to the party. But it's gonna be a good move for her. I wish Goldenboy and her stayed together, man. I really do. But it's probably gonna be a good move. But I think Jake Paul. I'm just hearing Ring IQ say I think Jake Paul hands is in the pot, man. He's got a lot of respect for the female boxers, and I appreciate that, man. I appreciate him putting his hand in the females boxing like he's done, and helping them get more exposure, like like that they deserve, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know really too much of what happened in that situation. I wish I did, so can't really touch too much on that. But I know she's probably gonna go somewhere.
I hear you, brother.
Get fair.
All right, Calix, what do you make of it?
I can't add anything to what Ring IQ and Michael Montero said because I think they know information that the rest of us may not know when it comes to this situation. So I can't add anything to that. But if I could take less than 60 seconds, because I wasn't done with the Bogboe Andrade thing, I don't think that Bogboe Andrade is going to have the options at 168 that Beeb thinks are possible. I don't think those options are going to be there. And the reason I don't think Al Heyman's going to risk the leverage that he's going to have, that he wants to bring to the table next year when it comes to a possible Canelo negotiation. I don't think he's going to put any of those guys at risk, and Bogboe Andrade is a possible risk when it comes to his style at 168. I don't think those options are going to be there. So I think the World Bob organization, the WBO, saw a guy that's vulnerable at 160 that they can possibly pluck off this belt from him, and they're putting pressure on him.
Can I say this, Callie? This is the thing. I spoke to Samson over a month ago, and Samson, he tried to bullshit me and try to find creative ways to say what I already knew. You don't want to make the Benavidez fight, bro. You don't want to do it with Demetrius. And he just kept trying to find different ways to say it. I recorded the whole conversation because it was on Twitter Spaces, and I kept asking him about it. Like, well, if you cool to fight Lemieux, why would you not be cool to fight Andrade? He's a 2-division champion. He's unbeaten. And he just kept finding different ways to say the shit. To the point that Callie made, right? Charlo being in the running for a Canelo fight, you're not going to endanger that by putting him in there with Demetrius. Benavidez, he's selling tickets. His buzz is growing. All you got to keep doing is put dead bodies in there with him, and he's going to keep selling tickets. You can find a couple more Lemieux floating around to put in there with him. Now, what he told me, which I liked, is that this fall, he's going to put him in there with David Morrell. That's what he told me. So I'm going to take him at his word. I like that fight. That's a good fight because I want that fight. That's going to be an entertaining fight. And I'm going to take him at his word that that's the next fight. And if Morrell is next, I can't complain. I can't.
I hear you, brother. Hey, Joe Beeb, what do you make of Seniesa Estrada leaving Goldenboy Promotions?
Well, I wanted to let the cat out the bag, but since no one else wants to, I'm going to keep it in the bag too. Fuck it. I don't want to be that guy. But
I want to know.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. She pretty much reached, her peak at Goldenboy. There wasn't much left they had for her anyways, right? They couldn't really give her what she needs, right? So it just makes sense. I'm not a big fan of Goldenboy right now. It seems like a lot of their fighters, their top fighters have left them, and it's only a matter of time before I think Ryan leaves too. I don't think Ryan's going to finish his career with Goldenboy. I just don't. But we'll see what happens. But Seniesa is. I agree with everyone. She's arguably, you could say, the most talented female out there. Regardless, I taking nothing away from Katie Taylor or Clarissa Shields. In terms of just being versatile and doing everything well and just being a very schooled fighter, I'm going to say she's the most well-rounded female fighter that I've ever seen, in my opinion. So,
I think she's the most marketable, which is why she's going where she's going. And I don't want to say where she's going because I think it's going to surprise a lot of people where she goes. But just bear in mind, she's more marketable than Katie. She's more marketable than Clarissa in more ways than one. She's more marketable than both, but she's also entertaining. So you put those two things together and you kind of get an idea where she might pop up. And I do think a lot of people are going to be surprised.
Yeah, they are going to be surprised.
Is she going to match room?
She going where?
The match room with the zone?
No.
Don't say nothing, Beeb. Don't let the cat out the bag.
I'm not gonna let the cat out the bag.
You gotta let it out. You gotta. It's a roundtable rule. You gotta let it out the bag.
But to Ring's point, when you see her doing commentary work and stuff like that, you can tell she's got that it factor. She knows how to talk. She could sell herself. She's really good. I like her a lot.
Look, this is what I'll say about Seniesa Estrada. I've been saying this for a while. I mean, I look at her fight. Skills are there. She's got power. I mean, it's crazy. Even in the men, like we're not used to seeing the little dudes just knock dudes out like one punch, like So to see a small girl do that is very, very impressive.
I'm gonna say something that may get me in a little bit of trouble, but I'm gonna say it anyways.
Go ahead.
When I see her box throw punches, she throws punches just like a guy throws. You know what I'm saying? The way she turns the snap and just the way she's fluid with her combinations. If you were to like cut her hair off and she fights like a man.
Listen, she's from East LA, man. They fight out there, man. East LA girls different, man.
Yeah, like I've always said, it's like she's not skilled for a girl. She's skilled.
She's skilled.
Like she's extremely talented.
And that's going to get me in trouble, but I'm going to say it anyways.
Look, the way she outclassed Marlene's Marlene's really good. And Marlene's bigger than her. Like on top of that, and she beat someone who's really good, bigger than her, and like outclassed her, in my opinion.
She's ambidextrous, and she's a counter puncher. She's aggressive.
East LA, man.
She's East LA. Vatos locos forever.
Look, she can do some stuff. Like I would favor her in a fight with you, babe. I would.
I would too. I'd favor her in a fight with me. But I think the most important thing is that she has all the ingredients you need to create a star in more ways than one, not limited to just the boxing. She has the network relationships also.
Well, I want to ask you this, Ring, before we move on from this topic. I want to ask you this, and if anybody wants to chime in after that, go ahead. But do you think like De La Hoya and Goldenboy, like they just don't have the vision for her because they're not used to promoting women fighters? They don't know how to do it.
Well, this is what I'll say, right? If anybody knows anything about the women's boxing scene in this country, believe it or not, it's the Mexican demographic, because for many years south of the border, the Mexican demographic has supported women's boxing, and they have created stars south of the border that are known, like Jackie Nava, like Barbie Juarez. So you should know how to promote her. And she actually has her hands on the pulse of a demographic that really moves the needle in this country. So if you don't know how to promote her, you just suck. It's not her. You got everything you need. Girl fights good, entertaining fights. People get dropped. People get knocked out. She can talk. She can do analytical commentator work. She's good buddies with superstars. She's rubbing elbows with LeBron, rubbing elbows with Danny Trejo. What the fuck else do you need, fam? But you want to pay Jaime $2 million to fight Jimmy Kelly. To fight Jimmy fucking Kelly. Right, bro.
I don't know how true this is, but according to 408, the other day, Dave 408 said that Deloitte just bought a $12 million home. And I mean, I don't know how true that is, but I mean,
he's working for the cartels, bro. Laundering money, bro. That's how you got to do it. How we doing it?
And it's not just her, by the way. I mean, did you see that abysmal purse like for Gallo, Estrada, and Franco?
Bro, $100,000 for $100,000, bro.
After Top Rank's been paying your fighter Franco the last 3 fights, and you still can't fork out more money? Like, what's going on over here? This is crazy.
I knew that fight wasn't going to go through.
Because of the purse, bro. Gallo got paid at least 7. At least
Franco was going to get Franco 30 after the split, and then after you pay cut man, trainer, strength and conditioning coach, taxes, you get what, 5 out of that? 10 to fight Gallo Estrada? We knew that fight wasn't going to happen.
That's embarrassing, bro. But more importantly, Gallo's already courting retirement. You know, he said that he's going to do a tune-up this summer. Wow. Then Choco at the end of the year, the trilogy. And he's courting retirement. So, I mean, the new wave is here. You know, Junto, he's a bad dude from Japan. You need to watch out for him. He's a bad fucking dude. Bam is a bad fucking dude, and everybody knows now. Bam is a bad fucking dude. These old guys need to pack it up. That's Estrada.
You think Gallo is going to fight Bam Rodriguez for like $90,000?
Bro, Gallo better not. If he don't want to get the shit beat out of him, he better not.
I'm just saying.
If he don't want to get turned into caldo, he better not fight Bam.
So that's news to me. He's not going to fight Franco?
No, he's not fighting Franco. He said it. El ya lo dijo. He's going to vacate the WBA. Franco's going to get the belt. He's going to fight in a tune-up fight this summer, and he wants to cap off this year with the Chocolatito trilogy.
Yeah, the trilogy, I think, is going to be in December. And Bam's going to go in a different direction after the Gonzalez fight in December.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Hey, speaking of, somebody said Gonzalez, but a different Gonzalez. Just really quick, we'll go around here. Joet Gonzalez, he's going to return to the ring with Dog Bay. Just our quick predictions here. Beeb, who do you think is going to win that fight and how?
This is a tough one because both guys have similar styles, but I think Joet's a little quicker, a little sharper. This could be one of those types of fights where you see a couple knockdowns, and this could be a very, very entertaining fight. But I'm going to go with Gonzalez. I think he's just going to be a little quicker. He's going to get off first. He's going to be a step ahead, and I think he's going to grind out a tough unanimous decision.
Okay, all right. Calix, how do you see it?
By decision, I'm going with Beeb. The reason I'm going with Beeb is I agree with Vegas. Joet is he's a comfortable favorite going into this fight, and I think for good reason. And the over/under is 8.5, and the line for this fight, the over is -350. So everybody's going to play the over, and I just think it's going to go by decision. I think Dog Bay is going to last the fight, last the rounds, and this is the triumphant return of our guy Gabriel Flores Jr. as well in a tough fight with Cabrera.
Shout out to him.
The triumphant return of Gabe Flores. So,
he got the shit beat out of him.
Will he live up to his expectations, Flores? Probably not, right?
Probably not.
Ring IQ?
I'm going Joet. I'm going Joet because I saw Isaac's last two fights, and being honest with you, they were fun fights. I like Isaac; he's entertaining, but he was very fortunate with Adam Lopez. He was fortunate to me, and he was fortunate in the other one. He's had about two fights that I saw. I can't remember the other one, and he seemed very fortunate to me on the judges' scorecards. Just being honest, I think Joet can get him. I'm going Joet on points.
Okay, all right. And you don't have much faith in what's his name, Gabriel?
Listen, he got the fucking shit beat out of him. You don't just get the shit beat out of you like that, and then everything's gonna be okay after. Like, he got the shit beat out of him.
Sometimes a good ass whooping can put you in line sometimes.
Yeah, but he had no
power.
He had a look.
This is a toss-up fight he's in with Cabrera. I mean, no, it's not gonna happen.
He had a look of a broken man after that defeat.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Ohio runs boxing. Joet or Dog Bay, brother? Who you got? I think Ohio run boxing stepped out for a bit. That's all right. Look, Gabriel Flores is someone who I had high hopes for, and then he got his ass beat, and he's, I don't know, it's like he's not going to change the way he fights. He just isn't. And that's probably, I don't know, he'll make for good fights, but I don't know. His father didn't do him any favors not stopping the fight.
Damn sure didn't.
He just didn't. This whole and then I saw some people oh yeah, he believed in his son. That's why he didn't stop it.
That's horrible to say that.
Come on. If they hang me on a pole and shit, start beating me like a piñata, right? I would expect one of you to stop it and not say, I believe in these style. You could take this beating. You know what I mean? I would hope you stop swinging. All right. But yeah, look, and that's probably the more interesting of the two fights, to be honest with you. The Gabriel Flores fight. So I'm looking forward to that. That's about it for the weekend that I know of anyway.
Wasn't Danny fighting Jose this weekend?
The week after.
Oh,
which is a horrible. I don't like that fight.
I just want to see Danny get beat up, bro. I need that.
Dude's a one-legged dude, bro.
I need that, bro. I just need Jose to figure it the fuck out, bro. Just figure it out, bro.
That's going to be
Danny.
tough.
Danny said he's already stamped his legacy as a Hall of Famer. He said he's already done it.
Oh, come on.
I don't like Danny at 154, man.
But he's fighting Jose.
He's fighting Jose, Beeb. It's not.
No, I know. No, I'm thinking down the road. I know he's going to win.
Can we get Fundora versus Garcia? I'd love that fight. Garcia versus Fundora for the hospital bill.
I think Fundora would beat him.
Fundora would beat the hell out of him, is what he would do.
That's why I like that fight.
He's my guy at 154. I like Fundora.
Let's go ahead and talk about Adrien the Problem Broner. Yeah, it was in a virtual press conference that was being hosted by what's his name from Showtime? I forgot his name
Brian
already.
Custer.
Brian Custer, and he just basically he waited for Brian Custer to do the introduction. He waited all that he waited for Brian Custer to ask a question, and then he just basically told him, "Look, man, Floyd don't do these type of stuff, and why isn't this in person? I'm out of here. I ain't with this shit." Blah 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 blah. Calix, talk to us, brother. What did you make of Adrien Broner walking out? Now he has apologized since then, right? And we'll go to you next, Ohio. But Calix, talk to us. What you make of it?
It's always a mixed bag with Broner for me, right? Because I know you remember back in the days when I would get frustrated with people packaging this guy as a pound for pound talent, as the next Mayweather, all this good stuff. And I say you should be packaging this guy as an exciting fighter because that's who he's going to be. And that's why I like Broner in ways too. If you look at him inside the ring, I never thought he was a great pound for pound talent. But what I always saw in him is he's an entertaining fighter because he's talented, but he's extremely flawed. Extremely flawed. And being that he's extremely flawed, inferior fighters stay in fights with him and can upset him. He fights in lulls, flat-footed. Offense to defense is a transition. It doesn't mesh together. But at the same time, he's talented enough. A specific example, Sean Porter, 12th round. He's talented enough to make up for those deficiencies and possibly beat superior opposition. So that's fun. But it's also a mixed bag when you see what happened yesterday with him, for me. Because when I see dudes, Al Heyman fighters, publicly go after Al Heyman, I said, yeah, I like that. I like that. Give me more of that. And Adrien Broner is the only Al Heyman fighter who will publicly criticize Al Heyman. So I like that. But then there's the other side of this is that Adrien Broner needs to realize he's not that dude anymore.
He's not Floyd, you know. He's not fucking Floyd.
No.
Oh, no.
But what I'm saying is 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, it was funny when Broner pulled this stuff. Now, when you're losing, look at the ratings of his last fight. It didn't do well. It didn't do well.
The shit I'm saying, bro. I'm like, yo,
the market got bored with him. The market got bored with him. So this isn't entertaining to people anymore. And I don't think he's learning that. And you're going to see this stuff. But I just hope, for Broner's sake, because I don't wish bad on anybody, that he can somehow revitalize a last 3 to 4 year run where he's at least in entertaining fights and he gets the point, but he's not going to get the point. He's not going to get the point that he's not a top tier fighter. He's not going to get the point that it's not funny anymore. And the market has turned him off. It's turned him off. And that's where we're at.
Good points. Hey, Ohio runs boxing. Let's talk about your boy. Let's talk about Adrien, the problem Broner. He's from Ohio. You have a lot of explaining to do. What's going on with Adrien Broner? Why did he do what he do? Now, he did apologize, in fairness. But was he serious, do you think? Or do you think it was just a troll job? Was he playing around?
No, I think he was serious, but I think Broner, he doesn't pay attention to how PBC runs. He does his thing. He didn't got in trouble. This is the only real fighter where Al Heyman has had continuously trouble with this kid, in and out of jail, and bailing him out. And it's funny that people use Broner as the stepping stone to step on Al. Like, oh, look, he's talking about you. He's doing this. So the people that don't like Al is definitely going to use Broner as the look what's going, but Broner has a lot of money issues at times, and he's been bailed out. He didn't borrow money. So it's a lot of stuff that goes on that he does that falls on himself. But when it came to this situation, he was just uninformed, didn't realize that PBC been doing this, this live press conference for, video press conference for a couple years now. And he took it personal. He made it personal. And what people don't understand is Broner gets paid a lot of money like he's still undefeated. See, that's the problem. I think it's not, he's getting paid great money, that people don't know about. So he still had this entitled, oh, I'm bringing fans and this and this. And when Al really cuts that check, he's really going to hate him. That's when it's going to come down to when if he loses this Omar Figueroa, he's pretty much on the journeyman line right now. He needs this win big, but I think that's exactly what's going to happen, in my opinion. I think he's been spoiled. He's been getting paid great money, and he feels like he's still Floyd Mayweather level when he's not. He's been losing. He has not won the big fights he was supposed to win, but yet he's still bringing in big money. You know, he talks about it. I've been around him. They brag about it, but it's going to be a time where, and this might happen too, where he actually leaves Al Heyman and goes to say, hey, the across the street going to pay me if you don't pay me this, and they're going to use you for food. You're going to be food, and they're going to build their fighters off you wherever you go. Vanes Monterosian was another one who actually said something publicly bad about Al Heyman, and he
went to Don King of all fucking places, bro.
Right. So he regretted it. He went to Don King, and he realized, and let's look at Vanes Monterosian's career. He was
showed him.
He was losing and getting great fights, and still had something to say out of frustration, and then he regretted. I don't think Al called him and told him anything. He just realized, dang, I really had it made over here. And I think that's where Broner is going to go if he don't clear it up and get himself together. But he apologized. I don't think Al Heyman gave him a call. That's just who Broner is. I think he had a good talk with Mike Stanford and them out behind closed doors, and they said, bro, you tripping. This man that did this for you. This man did that. Upfront money, $2 million. I mean, it's been a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know about that goes on behind the curtains when it comes to Al and Broner. So he did a lot. So I think that apology was sincere.
Really quick, guys, make sure you hit that like button if you like the content. Hey, Beeb, what do you make of it, brother? What, like, Adrien Broner walks out. What did you make of it, if anything? You know, what do you think?
Well, Ring made a great point earlier in the show when he's talking about people acting emotional, and no one personifies that more than Adrien Broner. This guy is a very emotional person and doesn't really take much to set him off, and takes everything personal, right? He reminds me of the type of guy where you can have a deep conversation with. You can tell him the deepest, darkest secrets, and then one day he gets mad at you and he just flips on you and he tells the whole world, you know, the what you told him in confidence. He just has no self-control, this guy. You know what I mean? He's 32 years old. You would think that this would be the prime years of his career, but it's pretty much, I think, reached his peak. And he's declined severely, I think. You know, he can get in great shape physically. He appeared to be in great shape if you look at him. But at the end of the day, he's done a lot of damage to his body, a lot of drinking, and who knows what else he's been doing behind the scenes, partying, up and down in weight, been inactive. And he's the type of guy where if he doesn't have a fight, he's not going to be in the gym. He'd rather just mess around, right? So this is a guy who's really not lived a fighter's life. He did it
in years.
Yeah. Strictly has done it for the money, and obviously that's what you do it for. But, you know, you got to love what you do. You got to be passionate about what you do to be good at what you do. And there's some things and some qualities missing from Adrien Broner. But is this the opponent in Figueroa that's going to exploit those things? Possibly, but we'll have to see that. It's basically a pick 'em fight, in my opinion. Yeah, I'd probably edge it to Broner. I think because of Figueroa's defense, and he's a little bit slower than Broner. So, but Broner just an emotional guy. He acts immature. He knew this was gonna happen, and if he didn't want to do it, should have said beforehand, I'm not cool with doing this, or at least make some type of excuse, say I'm sick or whatever, and just not be there. Don't show up and then walk out. It's like, what does that prove?
Nothing. Well said. Ring. So, Samuel, well, what did you make of that whole fiasco? And just to add on to something, like Adrian saying that, no, this time I'm coming to kill this dude. I'm coming to knock him out. I'm really training hard this time. Like, what do you make of all that?
No, I don't make anything of it. Like Broner, I have mixed feelings about Broner because Broner's been doing this for he's been doing this a long time where he'll have an outburst, take a shot at Al, and then apologize. And like Ohio said, you have to figure that Al must be doing favors for this guy. I think we all know that Al did favors for this guy, though at the same time, the concerns that he raises are compelling. I saw when he talked to Queen's Flip about what's going on at the PBC. I saw the text message that he posted on Instagram to Al, telling Al, give me my money. And I saw the points that he raised in this outburst that, yo, why did it take this long to do this fight? Who ever heard of a 6-month camp? The concerns that he raises are valid concerns, but at the same time, you are a fucking train wreck. Don't fucking compare yourself to Floyd. So it's mixed. For me, it's mixed that I'm like, yeah, you probably do got something to complain about, but what you don't want to accept is you're not who you were. You know, you're not who you were, and you ain't fucking Floyd either. So that's just fucking stupid. So one part of it is legitimate, and one part of it is delusional. And I'm thinking, you've been complaining about Al at least for 4 years now. You were in talks for a Conor Ben fight earlier this year, right? So if you chose to reject that, and now you're doing this, you made your fucking bed, lie in it. If you didn't want to because you've been complaining about Al for 4 fucking years. Legit. It's not new. He does this periodically. So if you're tired of your situation at Showtime and you're tired of dealing with Al, then why didn't you take the goddamn money from Eddie? You were in talks for a Conor Ben fight. You rejected that, right? Okay, you chose this. So, hey, it's your bed. You got to lie in it. You made it. You know what I mean? It's either that or I don't know. Maybe you don't even have the autonomy to make those decisions.
Ring, do you think it's probably because he's getting paid a lot of money that he don't think Eddie and the other guys across the street that's going to be able to pay? Because I think he's getting, I hate saying fighters getting overpaid, but I believe Broner is probably getting more than he probably is worth.
I don't know, but the dollar amount, Ohio, is not what I see. It's the treatment. Eddie going to promote your fight. What he ain't gonna do is coddle you, bro. You know what I mean? Like Al probably been coddling him. Stefan probably been coddling him. Like, what you need, 100,000? I got you. Don't even worry about it. That's probably what's been going on. That if he go to Top Ring ain't fucking gonna do that.
But that's what I've been saying. Like, he's not gonna get that type of treatment nowhere else. But he's gonna. And again,
like Eddie's not going to have you in a allowance.
Yeah, no, he's the only one that. And I mean, it's stuff that I can't even speak on that went on with trainers showing screenshots of money being borrowed. It's crazy. So trust me, he's the only one on the PBC side who's not really doing what he's supposed to do when it comes to investment. You don't hear that out of Danny. You don't hear that out of J-Rock.
Let me say this, Ohio. I think it's not necessarily the individual purse for the individual fight, but the treatment that, you know, they going to take care of you because they fuck with you. They've been doing you favors and they fuck with you. And maybe you're taking them for granted in that aspect, but I firmly believe that in all likelihood, they offered you more money for Ben, the purse for Ben, than Figueroa, because Figueroa is coming off of 2 losses. That's not a big fight, so you can't. I don't believe you getting a big purse for that fight. I think this is a situation where it's like, yo, Broner, you got to come through this, bro. You got to come through, and you got to do it good, all right? We ain't just going to keep just giving you money, fam. This is a business.
But one thing he has not complained about, if we all can say, you know, about Broner's character, he's going to say certain things publicly and not care. He has yet to complain about his money when it comes.
That's what I'm saying, Ohio. Go to AB the Wave God on Instagram. What's he complaining about? Money. He went to Queen's Flip, did an Instagram live.
Oh no. But that's in content. I know what he was talking about because he was talking about Robert Easter. He was talking about them cutting their money. They wasn't doing that to him, but I already knew why certain money was getting cut back with fighters.
I'm talking about the post that he made dedicated to Al Heyman, right? Mm-hmm. He said, "Don't call me. I don't want to talk to you. Give me my money."
He wanted that 10 million. He said he wanted 10 million now. That's what he was. Remember, he always fought. He fought everybody.
So fight Progress, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, he fought everybody.
No, he said he wasn't going to fight Progray. He said it during the pandemic. Progray went over there. He has the fight with Velasquez.
Didn't he ask for 10 million though?
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
I seen AB say, "I wish him well." I read a whole shit, and I don't know. I read a whole thing, and this is what I saw. AB basically, you know, he shut that shit down. He said he wasn't going to do that. They ain't going to fight. I don't know if it was, you know, if it was because he couldn't get 10 million, because I don't remember that being mentioned. I just remember Adrien Broner, you know, I wish him the best. I hope he does well, but, you know, he ain't on my radar. You know what I mean? And that's when Progray ended up leaving.
I was saying in the content of why he was talking about the 10 million and talking about I'll give him his money. he's one of the only A-side fighters that was putting asses in seat, fought everybody, and he never mentioned money. He never asked any fighter about who have you fought, what money do you bring to the table, he always fought him. So he got to that breaking point where he's like, I've been doing everything for everybody. I'm not fighting until I get 10 million. So that's where that came from. It wasn't that Al owed him 10. He just wanted money because he's been sacrificing and feeling like he doesn't get the money. Well, he feel like he's not getting what he's truly deserved up front. And I feel like you have.
What he didn't say in the shit is, look, when he posted that shit, I believe it was circa 2020. Now look at what Broner's record was circa 2020. You didn't beat Vargas, didn't beat Pacquiao. I remember him coming off a couple losses in 2020. So it's like, well, how you gonna be haggling for? You got to win, bro. You don't just fight. You got to win, and you didn't win them fights.
I think he was also complaining too. He was saying like Al Heyman had him on an allowance. He wasn't giving him his full purse up front.
He did say that.
And I suspect, and again, that this is what
probably
I suspect.
helped him.
That's what I'm saying. I think he was concerned because if he gives him all of his money at once, he's going to blow it. So they probably tried to do him a favor, like D-Style said. So that's
let me say this real quick.
Go ahead,
this
brother.
on the record. There's been times, and I can definitely this is true, where Alden gave him upfront millions, and he took it out of his purse.
Is it true that the Manny Pacquiao fight, he just basically paid back Al Heyman money he owed him? Is that true?
All of it. No, not all of it was not true. But there's been, I'll put it like this: there's been big upfront,
lots of advances.
Advances. That's all I'm gonna say.
When you hear about J-Rock is in real estate. When you hear about Danny's in real estate. I think he got barbershops and shit. A lot of these PBC guys, or at least a couple of them, they got outside endeavors, right? With Broner, it's a mixed bag because he give you jewels about what's going on, but what he not gonna say is, well, you kind of a fuck up though. Big time
fuck up. Big time.
You know, they gave you the Vargas fight. Look, fucking Liam Smith went in there with Vargas and knocked the motherfucker out. You went in there with Vargas. I mean, years before Liam Smith, granted, but you didn't do the job. Like, you got to beat the guy, bro. You got to beat him good because at the end of the day, you got to win. It's not just, I fought and I never said nothing and I fought. Yeah, but you lost to Pacquiao, bro. What you want? You lost to Pacquiao, bro.
You did.
Yeah. Well, look, here's what I'll say, just really quick. Adrien Broner has lived up to his nickname. He has been a problem, right? But let me tell you, I actually want Broner to get his shit together, and because I think he would be good for boxing if he was in the mix. He would, But he's just not a consistent guy. He just isn't, and he's erratic, and I don't know what to expect. I don't know what Broner's going to show up sometimes. I think that Broner that fought DeMarco, I think that Broner's gone.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't think we'll ever see that Broner again. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, Alex, I saw you do the finger thing.
No, I was just going to say the market is in need of a welterweight to clout chase off of. Danny Garcia has moved up to 154. Sean Porter retired. And Keith Thurman is doing Keith Thurman things.
Gatekeeper, is that what you're saying?
He's playing his flute under a tree. We may never see him again. So what I'm saying is there's no glorified gatekeeper to put a guy on the way out to put on your resume. So Adrien Broner could be a guy to, make some money getting beat up on by the young up-and-coming guys.
Kelly, he not going – look, it's a guy – Jaron Ennis is the guy that needs that gatekeeper to help him cross over. Broner didn't want to fight Prograve, fam. You think he gonna fight Ennis? Nobody even want to park their car next to Ennis, bro. No one deal with that
dude. Didn't he also turn down a restraining order Rock Nation deal and tell Jay-Z to
remember what he told Jay-Z?
Hey, so check it out. One more thing here before we end this one. It's been the 90th episode of the RoundTable. All right, I want to thank everybody that's tuned in. Make sure you jab that like button, by the way. Get us to 80 likes by the end of this show. August 20th, it's going to be a big day of boxing. Usyk AJ2 will be that afternoon, but that's over there now, Saudi Arabia. Now, earlier, you guys let me know that Estrada-Franco was not going to happen. So it's really just the Navarrete Baez and Broner Figueroa fight. assuming they're on at the same time, which fight are you guys watching? Which one are you gonna watch?
Vaquero, my name. Whenever he fought, I gotta see it. Them shovel uppercuts. But he ain't never in a boring
Hey,
fight.
but Broner Figueroa though, the problem.
Yeah,
Figueroa.
man. Unless it's Figueroa's sister.
She's gonna be right there in the corner ring. She's gonna be right there, like
Look,
icing him up and everything.
I've been waiting for my
She's
man.
gotta be there to distract Adrien Broner, like in the middle of the fight. You know what I mean?
That's Omar Figueroa's best bet to win that fight. If she showed him titties in the middle of the fight, and
We're in wrestling when the girl will get on the ring apron and distract the dude and hit him from behind. That's
just show Adrien Broner a nipple, like, hey, nipple.
boom, and he come from behind. Bah!
She
You know,
is hot, man. She is hot. No, but
hey, Ohio. Well, are you gonna stick to Ohio, dude, or are you gonna watch
man.
Vaquero? What's up?
absolutely, I'm gonna stick to the Broner. I think he's actually facing his scripted
1-1.
A volume puncher. I think I'm interested in this fight because he has trouble with volume punchers. Broner is
You know, that's a good point.
yeah, and he's going against a volume puncher. It's going to be real interesting if he gets a stoppage. You know what that would do to his confidence. Oh my God! I mean, you talking about him talking junk and being who he is now. Don't let him get a stoppage. It's like he's rebirth. He's going to sell this thing, and it's going to be crazy. So that's what I'm definitely rooting for that one.
All right, so it's 1-1. B, which one are you going to watch?
I'm going to watch Broner because I haven't seen him for a while, and I think actually this is a very competitive fight. I love watching 50-50. It's a 50-50 fight, so I'm gonna watch it, man.
Chad, let us know what you guys are going to watch. Calix, are you going to watch Adrien the Problem Broner, Figueroa, or Vaquero Navarrete? Are you going to watch Navarrete against shout out to 408, by the way, but are you going to watch Navarrete Baez? Which one are you going to watch?
Navarrete. And I also think Broner's going to lose that fight because he struggles with activity. So much like the Malignaggi fight, which was close, but he struggles with activity. He's going to lose that fight. It's going to be a good fight, but I like Navarrete. And you're not asking me if I'm like, you're not adding the Usyk fight to that too, because obviously that's going to be the one I'm most.
It's in the afternoon, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's in the afternoon. Look, I'm gonna watch Vaquero. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the Vaquero Baez fight. So I guess that's the tiebreaker. But assuming, just a quick kind of caveat, if Gallo Estrada-Franco, which was scheduled for that night, was going to happen on the zone, which you have watched, anybody would have watched that fight instead.
I would have watched. Yeah, I would have watched Gallo. I would have watched
Gallo.
I like Gallo.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
And by the way, Nico Ali Walsh, who happens to be the grandson of Muhammad Ali, is also
No way.
No way.
How do you know
His
that?
grandfather?
That's right. He's also on the card that night.
First I heard about that.
Man got the best feet working again.
Never heard of that.
I didn't. I just found out today, bro.
Thank you, Calix.
Good job, Calix. Good job, Calix. Hey, man. I want to thank all you guys for giving us your time. Ring IQ, we appreciate you. I got to get back on your channel. I'm off Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Just let me know. You know what I mean? Calix Boxing, you can catch me. I'm always on the channel midweek as well. Joe Habib, ringside reporter. Make sure you subscribe. Ohio Runs Boxing. It's Ohio Runs Boxing on all social media. So make sure you catch him. And, he keeps up with all from the prospects and everything, right? Like everything in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And he covers all of boxing too, not just Ohio. So shout out to him. I want to thank everybody for coming on. This is D-Style Boxing 90th episode. Keep it boxing. We're out.
All right, guys.
Peace.